What's up, everyone? It's your boy Scott. Welcome to the Scott Report, and today we are here to talk about a series that was already on my radar to watch for the spring 2020 season, but it ended up being a hell of a ride, and that series is Gleipnir. Wow, I am truly surprised with how much I enjoyed this series. I mean, I came into it thinking that it was just going to be, a fan service slash horror series, more akin to something you would see in the 90s, like, Wicked City or Angel Cop, a type of series that was just lewd, crude, and very touchy-feely. But at the same time, it was enough story there to match the tone to where you feel that you just kind of deal with it because the story is good enough for you to keep watching it. However, what I found in Gleipnir was more than just the fan service itself. In fact, there's so much more to it. Of course, there's this thing that you have to let yourself get past the main plot point of how Claire and Shuichi work together, and it kind of made people understandably uncomfortable. But trust me, once you get past episode 3 and the series opens up, then it's just the fan service fuckery that you're used to. Gleipnir is a story that, because it's a psychological seinen series with lots of twists and turns, you can't really dive into what it is without throwing out some type of spoilers, but I still want you guys to watch it or present something to you that would make it interesting besides what it seems like on the shell. But in general, the story centers around Shuichi Kagaya, a high school student with an unusual secret. You see, he has the ability to transform into this giant dog mascot type of thing with a pistol. And after he rescues a fellow classmate by the name of Claire Ioki, who is the second main character in this series, from a warehouse fire, she decides to use him to hunt down the monster responsible for killing her family, which is her sister. Now again, this is stuff that you will find more along the lines of watching the first episode, so I'm trying to keep the spoilers to a minimum, but that's what we're looking at for the story in general when it comes to Gleipnir. Then once you get your feet wet with the story, it splits into a whole nother thing with other people who also have abilities that comes from these coins, that come from an alien that lives in a vending machine, who can grant the wish and the promise of power if you bring him 100 of those coins, and then it just turns to a big survival game. And yeah, if you're still with me, this is where the fun really starts. And this is also when things get a little weird, and it's also probably the biggest thing you'll hear about the series, because you see, this is technically a mech series, because Shuichi has a zipper on his back, and he can open the zipper and you can get inside him and ride him. I mean, you can literally bottom this dude and pilot him while he's in this suit, and you get inside of him and all fleshy. And Claire, she has no problem with this either. She has no problem with just straight up getting stark naked and getting inside this dude and riding him and the power it brings. And that's when the uncomfortable settling things start to come in. But I know this is what makes people, not want to watch the series or feel a little bit weird about it. That, and also there's a lot of shots, a lot of ecchi type of shots, and the promiscuous of everyone in the cast, which I won't get into because of censorship. And it's things like this that can hold the series back, especially when you're watching it on the first glance. But it's so much more to this series once you get past that layer. Honestly, once you get past episode 2, and I would say episode 3, and when things start to open up, you start to see how truly vast this world is and how complex it can be too. And it's here that Gleipnir starts to go down this path of moral gray, where you start to see other people involved in this game and start meeting other people also collecting these coins and learning why they're here. That's when you find out that this really isn't about good and evil. It's about who wants to make the world a better place in their own way. And that's the complexity when it comes to Gleipnir. I mean, even though you are rooting for Claire and Shuichi, you can kind of understand the other people in the game and their motivations and what they want to do as well, because some people, they might just be scummy, but their intentions are still pure in its own way, and you may even just side with those people as well. And that is the true gem of the series, of how after a certain point, you just kind of feel like, you know what, maybe I want this person to win too, or it would be cool if these people can meet up, because it's a wish and not everybody's bad. And of course, when you're dealing with powers, you're going to deal with people who have their own intentions, of course, and the way they do things might not be optimal for you, but they are aligned with people who thinks that, you know what, maybe this might be a good thing that he's doing. And even at times, the characters themselves kind of feel that way too, and they start to question if they're doing the right thing, or should they continue to be selfish and go down their own path. I just really didn't expect this series to be as deep as it was, and it was a pleasant surprise because also the fight scenes had some top-notch animation too. Plus Shuichi also, he evolved so much as a character, almost Kaneki-like from the beginning of the story to how he is by the end of episode 13. And it's always a good thing when a character grows so much, especially when they start off as a more of a timid character and they just learn to adapt to the world that they're in. Now for the remainder of this video, I'll be talking about my thoughts on the series overall and mostly at the finale. So if you want to go into this completely blind and want to come back once you're done watching the series if you choose, I'm going to give you a couple of seconds to go ahead and do that. So 3, 2, 1. One thing that I knew very early on about Gleipnir is that it was going to leave us on a go read the manga type of ending, and I just don't feel like this is going to get a season 2 unless it done really well in Japan, and I haven't heard that it has. I don't think that it has, but I would say around the midway or at least in the later parts of the episodes of the series, I started reading the manga myself, and when I got to a certain point, I was looking like it's no way that they are going to be able to wrap this up cleanly to the point where you wouldn't have to read the manga and just wait to another season. It's just like the way that it was going, the natural progression of the series, like at some point it was just going to leave you on a cliffhanger. I mean, that's just how it is. But I can say that in the finale, they did a lot of jumping around with the chapter order around the last 2 or 3 episodes. And I think some of the content was even original. As a matter of fact, I'll go out on a limb and say maybe about 80% of what we saw in the final episode was anime original. I say if you're going to pick up the manga, you should probably start from the beginning or start around chapter 28, which is the end of the Monica arc in the forest. And there's currently 54 chapters translated, so you got a little bit to read if you want to go ahead and continue from there. But that's kind of the flow of where they left off with things. It seems like they really did do their best to try to make a good endpoint for the series because they started, jumping around just like I was mentioning. They actually skipped the next arc that was supposed to be next from what I remember reading the manga, just to give us kind of this mini arc to wrap things up in a way that you will be interested in coming back and not be completely left on a cliffhanger. And then they get back to the arc they're supposed to be on, kind of leading us to a to be continued type of thing. But again, that's if we get a season 2. If not, we're going to have to read the manga. Overall, this is a series that I'm going to miss because that Gleipnir greatness made my Sunday every week. But I guess we're moving on to the manga though. But as far as where I would rank it, I highly recommend it. I really do. If you can get past the unsettling nature of the transformation and the dynamic with Claire and Shuichi, and mainly just Claire and how she is as a character, and the shots that they choose to use. I mean, it's fan service. The fan service is there, but know that the fan service is really just a means to an end because it is a mature series. It is a seinen series, and honestly, sometimes the fan service is needed because things can get really dark in this series. Things can get really heavy, and sometimes just having Claire be there and know her role and what she is in this series and making her intentions known, it kind of takes the weight off of your shoulders to keep watching it. But I think what you will find in Gleipnir is a dark ride to survive, and this is generally a genre that doesn't do too well, but I think this one has the tools to make everything a little bit different and make it a little bit interesting for you to watch. So again, I recommend that you give it a try. Again, first episode, maybe first 2 may be rough, but it's a good ride after that. So I'm going to go ahead and get up out of here, guys. Let me know what you guys thought of this series as well in the comments below, or if you plan on watching it or not, and definitely come back after you have watched it and let me know what you think. So if you liked the video, go ahead and drop it a like, and if you want to hear more, go ahead and hit that subscribe button, because there is sometimes a shortage of content for you to indulge on this channel, and coming in 2020, I definitely need to change that. But either way, go ahead and hit the bell so you will be notified whenever I drop a video. And of course, as I always say, you guys can be anywhere on YouTube right now, but you chose to listen to me. I really appreciate that, so thanks for stopping by. On that note, it's your boy Scott signing out. See you soon.